You are not lazy. You are not unmotivated. You are not broken. You are running on a stress response that was never designed to be permanent, and it is quietly dismantling everything: your sleep, your focus, your mood, your memory, your ability to feel calm in a body that has forgotten what calm feels like. Most people manage this with distractions: a drink at the end of the day, another scroll, another episode, anything to turn the volume down without addressing what is generating the noise. This video is about what is actually happening inside your body when stress becomes chronic, and the specific evidence-backed methods that reverse it at the source. Chapter 1. What cortisol is actually doing to you. Cortisol is not your enemy. It is a survival hormone, and in short bursts, it is essential. When your brain detects a threat, the hypothalamus signals the adrenal glands to release cortisol. Heart rate climbs, blood sugar rises, non-essential systems such as digestion, immune response, reproductive function get temporarily suppressed. Your body is preparing to fight or flee. This is adaptive. This is the system working exactly as designed. The problem is what happens when the threat never resolves. Robert Sapolsky at Stanford University has spent 4 decades studying the effects of chronic stress on the brain and body. His findings are unambiguous. Sustained cortisol elevation damages the hippocampus directly, inhibiting neurogenesis, shrinking dendritic branching, and impairing memory consolidation. It dysregulates the immune system, increases systemic inflammation, and disrupts the hormonal feedback loops that govern sleep, appetite, and mood. Here's the part that makes this worse. Chronic stress impairs the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for rational thinking, impulse regulation, and decision-making, which means the very faculty you need to recognize and address your stress levels is the first thing chronic stress degrades. You cannot think your way out of a dysregulated nervous system. You have to work through the body. Chapter 2. 5 methods that actually lower cortisol. Method 1. Physiological sigh. This is the fastest, evidence-backed intervention for acute stress available to you right now. The physiological sigh is a double inhale through the nose, a full breath, followed immediately by a short second inhale to fully inflate the lungs, then a long, slow exhale through the mouth. Andrew Huberman at Stanford Neuroscience has identified this as the most rapid known method for down-regulating the sympathetic nervous system in real time. The mechanism: a long exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system by slowing the heart rate through a process called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. The double inhale deflates air sacs in the lungs that have collapsed under stress, maximizing the gas exchange that signals safety to the brain. 1 to 3 cycles is enough to produce a measurable shift. You do not need 5 minutes. You need 30 seconds and the knowledge that it works. Method 2. Cold exposure. Brief, deliberate cold, a cold shower, cold water immersion, produces a significant cortisol spike in the moment, followed by a sustained reduction in baseline cortisol over time. Research from the Thrombosis Research Institute and work cited by Huberman and colleagues shows that regular cold exposure trains the body's stress response system. You are teaching your nervous system to activate and recover, to tolerate the spike without being dysregulated by it. Over time, this recalibrates your baseline threat response. Situations that previously triggered a cortisol cascade begin to generate a smaller response. Start with 30 seconds of cold water at the end of your normal shower. Build to 2 minutes over several weeks. The discomfort is the training stimulus. Do not eliminate it. Tolerate it deliberately. Method 3. Zone 2 aerobic exercise. Not high intensity, not a sprint session. A sustained, moderate effort. Running, cycling, rowing, at a pace where you can hold a conversation but would prefer not to. This specific intensity, Zone 2, has been shown to reduce cortisol, elevate BDNF, and improve the sensitivity of cortisol receptors in the hippocampus, meaning your brain becomes more efficient at clearing cortisol after a stress event. 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 4 times per week. It should feel sustainable, almost boring. That is the correct intensity. Method 4. Social connection, specifically physical presence. Not text messages, not phone calls, physical proximity, the people you feel safe with. Sheldon Cohn at Carnegie Mellon University conducted landmark research showing that social support directly buffers the cortisol response to stress. Physical touch, a handshake, an embrace, releases oxytocin, which actively suppresses cortisol production. The nervous system is a social organ. It co-regulates with other nervous systems. Isolation does not just feel bad, it keeps the stress response elevated because the brain interprets prolonged aloneness as a threat signal. Make deliberate time for in-person connection. It is not a luxury, it is a physiological input your nervous system requires to regulate. Method 5. Sleep, specifically the first half of the night. Slow-wave sleep, which is concentrated in the first 3 to 4 hours after you fall asleep, is the primary window during which cortisol is cleared and the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal system that governs stress hormone production, resets. Matthew Walker at UC Berkeley has documented extensively how even moderate sleep disruption elevates next-day cortisol, reduces emotional regulation capacity, and increases amygdala reactivity, making you more threat-sensitive on less sleep, which generates more cortisol, which further degrades sleep quality. The cycle is self-reinforcing. Protect the first half of your night above everything else. A consistent sleep and wake time, a cool, dark room, and no alcohol, which fragments slow-wave sleep even in small quantities, are the 3 highest leverage interventions. Chapter 3. Why relaxation alone does not work. Here is what most stress advice misses. Telling a chronically stressed nervous system to relax is like telling a smoke alarm to stop beeping without addressing the fire. The alarm is doing its job. The problem is the fire has been burning so long, the alarm no longer knows how to switch off. Chronic stress rewires the HPA axis toward hyperactivity. The feedback loop that should tell your brain cortisol levels are high enough and to stop producing more becomes desensitized. Your nervous system stops reading the signal accurately. This is why people who have been chronically stressed for years often cannot relax even when the external circumstances improve. The dysregulation is no longer situational, it is structural. The methods in Chapter 2 work because they address that structural dysregulation directly, through the body, through the breath, through physical inputs that speak to the nervous system in its own language. Relaxation is an outcome, it is not a method. Here's your challenge. Tonight, before you sleep, do 1 physiological sigh, 1 double inhale through the nose, 1 long exhale through the mouth. Notice what happens to your body in the 30 seconds that follow. Then tomorrow morning, end your shower with 30 seconds of cold water. Do not think about it, just turn the dial and breathe through it. 2 actions, 30 seconds each. That is your entry point into a regulated nervous system. Chronic stress is not a personality trait, it is a physiological state, and physiological states can be changed with the right inputs. Your nervous system is not permanently broken, it is responding rationally to signals it has been receiving for a long time. Change the signals, and the system recalibrates. That is not optimism, that is neuroscience. If this channel is what you have been looking for, subscribe. Every video here is built on the same foundation, the science of how your brain actually works and exactly what to do about it.